Live from the basement of the YouTube headquarters, it's the Stacking Benjamin Show. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and as prices rise, how has your spending changed? One publication says that maybe inflation hasn't been so bad after all. We'll ask our roundtable how life has changed for them and give you ideas to cut the right budget items. But that's not all. OG is still racing for the record books, but Paula and Jesse have been tightening our year-long trivia race. Who's going to win this week's installment? We'll find out. And now, a guy who just found out that it's not only geckos who can save on their auto insurance, it's Joe Saul-Sehy.
And YouTube as we make our way into Memorial Day weekend already. And it's super exciting doing Labor Day. Why am I saying Labor Day? Memorial Day. I just ended summer, Doug. Summer's over.
Everybody gets that wrong. It's so strange how many people you'll see pause and think, wait, which one
is it?
Beginning or end?
Can I wear white pants? Can I not wear white pants?
Exactly.
Do I have to wear pants at all? How are you, man?
I'm really enjoying my time here, Joe. It's been just delightful. It's wonderful.
It's so good. Is that because OG's with us? Is that why?
No, I would love to say yes to that, but no.
But it's not.
There's a couple other people joining us here very shortly that I'm slightly more excited about.
Oh,
they don't yell at me
geez.
like OG yells at me.
What? It comes from a position of love.
Yeah.
I just have high expectations.
Doug, God, how many times?
We were hoping for better.
There's love,
yes,
in there.
Yes, and don't you hate it, Doug, when you like it compared to? Did your parents ever compare you to your brothers and sisters?
No, actually, they were telling my brothers and sister, my older brothers, to be more like me.
To be more like you.
I was the goody two shoes, youngest little prince.
Well, on this show, we wish you were more like Paula Pant from Fort Anything. If you could only do that.
No,
the bar's high, Doug.
I think everyone should be themselves.
Oh, well, have you met Doug? Do we really want Doug to be himself, Paula? How are you today, Paula Pant?
I am fantastic. How are you doing?
I'm better now that you're hanging out with us.
Aww.
So I'm sad. I was in New York City recently, and I noticed that you strategically left town to make sure the restraining order stayed in place.
Exactly. Well, I had the opportunity to go to Italy with Camp Phi, hang out with a bunch of financially independent people in the land of pizza and gelato. So I took it.
I know. I think you texted me that you ate your weight in gelato.
Yeah, pretty much. There was actually someone who got an alert from Monarch letting him know that his biggest spend of the week was gelato.
And the guy who's always hoping for more gelato in his life from our brother podcast, Earn and Invest, Doc G, Jordan Grumet's here. Are you a big gelato fan, Doc G?
I am. And when we were in Lisbon, we stayed in an Airbnb, and the major gelato place was right underneath us. And so we had it
dangerous.
We had it once or maybe twice a day, maybe.
I'm so confused. Are we talking about the guy who made Pinocchio?
That's Giuseppe.
I don't know.
Same. Maybe a little different, maybe slightly different. Well, guys, I'm glad you're all here because today we're going to be talking about spending. And it's interesting as we look at the, not just inflationary data, but just in our own lives, right? I mean, you look at the price of gas. Oh, gee, you were telling me offline about putting gas in your car, and it was a solid 3 figures. You're like over $100 for gas. That true?
Yeah. 105, 110, something like that. It was to the point where I was wondering, the pre-authorization on the credit card. I was like, I wonder if they keep up with that. I wonder if they keep, do they change it for, somewhat frequently to account for the fact that, and I don't have a particularly large vehicle. It's, I don't know, I ran it down to empty though. So it was 22 gallons of gas, but I mean, you could easily have a truck that has a 40-gallon gas tank or something, maybe.
I have a 22-gallon tank in my truck, but I have to use premium, or it strongly recommends premium. And I will say,
of course you do.
I've backed off the 93 octane and gone down to the 89 octane these days.
Middle of the
Doug has
road.
had to tell his truck that premium's in the eye of the beholder.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Work harder. Be better, engine. Combust faster.
Well, I'm super happy we're going to talk about this topic because the Wall Street Journal recently did a story on this, and people are changing spending in their piece. And also I've got some corporate reports from one company I'm sure we've all shopped at before as well, talking about this changing behavior. People are changing, but not how we think that they might be changing. So we're going to get into that, but we have a couple sponsors who help us keep on keeping on. We have only a couple sponsor breaks in the show. One is now, and the next one during our trivia challenge, which we'll have at the halfway mark. So hang out here for a moment and we're going to hear from them. It's what is the phrase, Paula? This show is free because of our sponsors and
worth every penny.
There it is. We're going to hear from them. And then Paula, OG, Doc G, and Doug are going to chime in on how we're changing our spending. All right, the piece that I'm drawing from comes to us from the Wall Street Journal. It says, where Americans are drawing the line. And it is really, really wild where they're drawing the line, by the way, on price increases. It's written by Rachel Wolf. Rachel.
Bye, Joe.
He drew the line on his internet service.
Dun, 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 dun. It's like that little cane came out and just like hooked him off the stage as he's like still trying to dance.
I was thinking, like, who didn't want him to read about that article? Someone didn't want that surfaced.
Some NSA operative was like, no. Well, this is what we get to see when we do live events. Is sometimes the gerbils are not running fast enough. So
I think this is the first time Joe is totally cut off in the middle of his intro, though.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
That was pretty
happened
sudden
on
too.
occasion, but yeah,
it seems.
Yeah, we had some big storms.
I
wonder if it's happening. I wonder if he's getting some weather over there. We had some pretty good storms roll through Dallas not too long ago, so could be that. Let's have a look. See at the radar, and maybe he had a power. No, there's no storms over there. He just did not pay his.
Stall and entertain the audience with weather.
I was just trying to give him an out. I was trying to find some excuse for why his internet failed, but we're just going to have to go with it got too expensive, and Joe decided to rearrange his spending.
He decided to skimp on his internet. That was inflation. The total of inflation was Joe as he decided to
they have shrinkflation, right? So it's like you get the ice cream and it's the same price, but you get lower and lower volume of ice cream. So they keep it at $5 or whatever, it's shrinkflation. Does that what happened with Joe's internet? Did they just say, like, hey, they 2 megs is good, right? And he's like,
took him back to 256K.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's just a window of time every day when it's not available. It's like
a brownout.
Yeah, exactly. Like an internet brownout.
For Joe's internet.
This is probably when high school kids are starting to get out and get home. So I bet you there's a bit of a demand draw in Texarkana.
Little surge of Xboxing.
Yep.
Maybe
punks.
I know. It's just like college kids. I'm pretty sure that's what my kid's doing all day. But apparently he's going to get a job. He's a week into it. We'll see.
Yeah. He's home already. He's sitting around. You're watching him in his room going, aren't you going to get up and do something yet? Or is that just my kid?
No, it's he's been home a week. He did start a business, so they're doing power washing, him and some friends. So they're working on doing some marketing for that. They've got a couple of pieces.
Oh, look who decided to join us.
Look what the cat dragged in, maybe.
Maybe.
He's the square of Joe Saul-Sehy.
His power went off too, so his lights are off.
Hopefully there's some cool excuse like that. But Yeah, we're optimistic. Alex will find something to do this summer. This isn't a huge summer for that, obviously got to have something, but freshman to sophomore year, not a big internship,
Yeah, it's
thing,
next
but,
year. It's next year. I'm amazed at how fast kids have to get internships nowadays.
Bye, Joe.
Like,
They're recruiting, the finance world's recruiting 2 summers in advance.
yeah. I mean, it's serious. Like, it's like, shoot, if between sophomore and junior year I don't get a good internship, I'm like done. Like, really?
Depending on your chosen path. No, and Joe's gone again. This is fun.
That's
Harry
why
Joe
kids-
Jim Bob said the Russians cut Joe off. Yeah. Somebody did.
Like Russians will.
Mm-hmm. Doug, you said in your text that gas is $6 a gallon in Michigan
For premium, yeah.
Yeah.
It's been bopping around between like $5.89 to $6.09.
Yeah.
Exit 144, though, in your old, I would say neckish of the woods, a little south of you, but that's the cheapest gas on I-75.
You just have to drive 2 hours to get.
That's right.
Filled up.
That's why retiring early makes sense. Is you don't got to drive anywhere.
I honestly, only the last couple of weeks did I have any driving, and it was back and forth from school to kind of help with that over the last couple of weeks. But I can't read this. Tuberculosis.
So apparently, and every time I see this stacker's name, I read it as tubercularius, like they have tuberculosis, but it's
They have tuberculosis
tubularious.
and it's hilarious.
But I like tubercularius better because, I mean, what's more fun than that? But they've turned this into an AMA. OG, they want to know how's 1 year of Aggie dad life?
Yeah. It was great. I mean, I didn't do anything. I wrote checks. That was kind of my job. But no, Alex did fantastic. You could tell. We could tell at the end of the school year, we were there for the Savannah Bananas game that they played at Kyle Field, which was really fun to see. 100,000 people watch a make-believe baseball game. But cool experience for sure. But I could see the the energy around the school, and his passion for the school. It definitely grew from dropping him off in August till May, and it's fun. He's like a normal dude, but did great in school. That's the major thing. Fantastic grades. Worked really hard and got through all the hard sections of accounting and that sort of thing, and came out with flying colors. So yes.
It's the first sight that he may one day be off the payroll.
Yeah, right. I hadn't thought about that. That's a thing. Does that
this
actually
is the
happen?
beginning? Yeah, I think it does.
You think it does?
You know what part doesn't happen? Like, I thought that happened for me, Doc. And then you go on vacation with your kids. And
then you're paying.
Still,
yeah.
I saw that. I saw that video.
It's like, Dad, I got this, as he holds up my credit card. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I saw this video on Instagram. It was like, the kid was like, man, these all-inclusive resorts are awesome.
Exactly.
And the mom's like, this isn't all-inclusive. He's like, well, how is this free? I just walked up there and gave him my room number. And she like leans back, and the dad's sitting there like by himself with like, just like one Coors Light. And the teenagers the college kids got like fistfuls of like slushy drinks, at the pool. Which is fine. We're going to go to Disney in a couple of weeks. So that's kind of how that is like. That feels like a this is one of those all-inclusive trips that we get to go on with Dad, right?
I will tell you, so we definitely do all-inclusive when we go to Mexico. Mm-hmm. And although you pay out of the nose for it, and like my family, we're all like really skinny. We don't drink. And we eat small portions. So these all-inclusives make so much money on us, but there is something luxurious about not carrying around any money or credit card or anything, and ordering whatever you want when you want. There's really something to that. Like, that feels very luxurious.
This is a fun travel topic. Paula, you travel all over God's creation. Mm-hmm. All right, what is your take on all-inclusive versus pay-as-you-go? Do they have all-inclusive in Italy? Probably not.
I generally avoid packaged things. I like to be spontaneous. I like to sort of see where the wind takes me. And
Mhm.
so with the exception of, I think once I went to a wedding that was at an all-inclusive resort, with the exception of that particular wedding, I've never been to one. So it's not really my style. I prefer to just sort of like show up somewhere and see what happens.
What about like tours and that sort of thing? Like if you're going someplace and you want to find a, you're gonna go to Italy and you want to do the thing, right?
Yeah, I
So
mean,
I mean that's scheduled in advance a little bit, kind of.
if I'm with a group and somebody plans like an afternoon something, then sure, I'll ride along.
Got it.
But I never initiate anything like that.
Okay. Hey Joe,
Hey, glad you guys want to do a podcast?
we
Give me a
are
little
Slice
we're,
that
we're
tummy.
17 minutes into it, so just fast forward in your little article wherever you were going to be at the 17-minute mark, and we'll pick it up right there.
I just thought we'd drop. Yeah, here we go. 3, 2, 1. So the piece that we're taking, the piece that I got inspiration from is called "Where Americans Are Drawing the Line on Price Increases," written by Rachel Wolf. And as I mentioned before the break, people are cutting back in ways that we did not expect. Rachel writes, when Shannon Johnson George's personal laptop went bust in February, she decided not to spend the roughly $1,000 it would cost to replace it. She plans to rewear an old dress to her son's college graduation next month, after being shocked by the $100 plus prices the online retailer she frequents. Yet, over the next 5 months, the 40-year-old from Cincinnati has a Disney cruise, a visit to Lake Erie, and a trip to New Orleans for a Bruno Mars concert booked. She's changing things, but she's prioritizing what gets changed by what doesn't. And it is interesting as I see people around me, and also in my own life, I see the way that I'm cutting back, and I think in some ways I'm cutting back the same way. But I'm wondering what kind of stuff you guys have quietly given up in the past year, if anything. So Paula, let's start with you. What have you really given up anything in the past few months?
Phases. Like I went through a phase where I was buying a lot of clothing, and that sort of passed. But I don't think that was a function of the economy or inflation or anything like that. I think I just sort of like went through that phase, and
You just
then
bought the entire Quince catalog, so you were
I
done?
pretty much did. Yeah, I bought the entire Quince catalog, and then this is Quince. My pants are Quince. Yeah. And then I just ran out of Quince. There's nothing else that they've made.
Oh, gee, you said that you've been, thinking long and hard about DoorDash with your family.
Yeah, I would like to report that this was a wildly successful enterprise. It was not particularly successful. The plan was to say, if we are going to order takeout, that you actually have to go get the takeout. Like, forget the extra markup
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
delivery fee and the tips and all that sort of stuff, just to kind of draw a line in the sand of saying, if we really want to go out to eat, like, let's go out to eat. Let's not just be lazy and have somebody shovel food to us. Like go out somewhere and enjoy company and the vibrancy of going out. It's like, so I would love to report that has worked magically. I feel like it's probably a 2 out of 10 in the success so far year to date. But at least I think about it. Does that count? It's only it's like I only get 1 vote out of 5 though, so it's kind of hard to steer the ship when 4 people are pulling the rudder in the other direction.
We've cut some of our online subscriptions just because I don't value how many things that I have, how many channels I have, and I've decided to go more with just a couple channels. I know I threatened to do that. I did it. Then I one by one, I felt like over the past year, I bought them all back because of certain shows I wanted to watch. And I'm like, what are we doing? Why are we not back there? Doc G, how about for you?
So I had to think long and hard about this, but it is true. One of our cars is an electric car, and it has free charging because we bought it in 2015. So especially my daughter, who for most of the time has a gas car, she's been asking to borrow the electric car a lot, and then she'll just go and charge it for free. And so I realized I didn't think we changed our behavior a lot, but there is some change there on the car choice.
Well, and it does make me ask some questions. I mean, does hype, if we're feeling like there's higher prices in an area, does it force us to ask whether we value the thing versus the habit, Paula?
I think I think that it forces us I mean, we're reallocating money, so it forces us to just set priorities. And that means that we're necessarily having a tough internal discussion with what is it that we value versus what has become a default. So yes, I would say we do question values versus habits.
Does it surprise you, OG, that the woman who kicks off this piece she's still doing all the traveling while she's cutting back like on wardrobe?
No, it doesn't. I mean, I think when you can do anything, like you'll just do whatever. Like, life expands into what you allow it to. But if you find some constraints, then yeah, I think like what Paula said, it forces you to have an assessment of what are the things that I really want to spend this money on. It can't be as willy-nilly. I remember a story of a friend of mine that worked in the mortgage business in like 2021, and it was like fish in a barrel, right? Like if like you could get if you could fog a spoon, you could be a mortgage broker. No offense to all the mortgage brokers out there, but there was a lot of demand, right? So there was a lot of demand for refinancing. And he did really well. He had a great system and a great team. And I think that year he made like $1 million, but his normal income was like, 175, which is also great money, but it ain't $1 million. And he posted a picture on Instagram at the middle of the year of him and his family on some like ridiculously, crazy trip that probably cost him like $100,000 to take his entire family on this. It was like, hey, we rented out three over the water condo cabins in the Maldives, and everybody flew first class. We're here for 3 weeks. If anybody wants to join, like that kind of vibe, right?
Wow.
And I was just like, all right, cool, man. Mad props to like just go big. Also, like 7 lean years, 7 fat years. So like, what is it going to feel like to have to rip that Band-Aid back off again and come live with normal people for the rest of your life? Like, because that's a vibe, which is cool, right? Like if I go spend 3 weeks in the, wherever, like that would be awesome in the Caribbean, or I guess the Maldives is in the Caribbean, but you get the idea. So it's like, and his response, I just kind of texted him. I'm like, hey man, just make sure you set aside some money from taxes, because that's going to be $250,000. And he's like, no, that's all squared. He goes, I know this is a once in a lifetime thing. He's like, I'm living it up. So he kind of embraced it. Was like YOLO, maybe not the right answer, but
yeah.
But when you don't have any limits, you just make stuff up to spend money on. And then when all of a sudden those limits happen, whether it's through inflation or job change or whatever, now you're forced to rethink about what's important to you.
I think there's an ease factor that we have to think about here too, because I think it's more the threat than the reality. So there's this threat that things are going to go really sour and we're not going to have enough money and everything's going to be way too expensive. And we're like in that in-between place where it's going up, but it hasn't reached that level yet. So what you're seeing is a lot of people are willing to change the easy stuff because it relieves the anxiety of the threat that could possibly come, right? So like my daughter is willing to drive the other car and spend 30 minutes extra going to the car charger that she doesn't have to pay for, but she's not walking. Right? Because that's much harder. But she's willing to do the easy stuff. And I think the example you gave makes a lot of sense too. It's like, well, for her, the clothes is probably easy, but it's not real easy to give up maybe something that would save her a lot more money, which is the travel. So it's kind of like the threat of what could happen. And so I'll do this easy stuff to relieve my anxiety. But a lot of people are still, the bigger ticket items, maybe they're still spending on it.
But does that make sense though, Doc, sticking with you to just kind of start off with, you talk a lot about intentionality, right? And I think this is big when it comes to spending, like at a time like now when prices in some areas seem higher, to go, okay, is this intentional spending or is this wasteful spending?
I mean, ideally, we're always doing that, right? Regardless of inflation and what's happening. But I think there is an emotional toll to thinking a lot about how much you're spending and how you're spending. And so it has to be worth the emotional toll. So again, when inflation is spiking and people are worried, then it's worth the emotional toll to really think about it and be intentional. I think during better times, people don't want to spend the emotional time and energy doing that, and so then are more lackadaisical.
Paula, let's move into this idea of experiences versus stuff, because I found this to be kind of interesting. You know, she's skipping the more expensive computer, she's skipping out on some clothing, but she's still booking cruises and concerts. Is this in your mind a good trade-off? Keep the experiences, get rid of the stuff?
I mean, it's not my place to judge another person's values. You know, your discretionary spending is a reflection of your values, and I don't think, you know, and that has to be a personal decision that every individual makes. For myself, I do tend to prioritize experiences over stuff, and there is research that indicates that, by and large, people tend to, if a person spends on experiences, then those experiences in the future are subject to what's called nostalgia bias. And so the
They
memory,
appreciate.
the memory of that experience becomes rosier over time while those objects depreciate. So there is research to back the notion that people generally report higher levels of satisfaction having spent money on experiences as opposed to stuff over the long term. So that research is out there, that data is out there. That being said, it's not my place to judge somebody else's spending.
But Jordan, you know, at the end of life, and you wrote a book on this and also had a career in this area. At the end of life, I bet there's almost nobody who says, "I wish I'd upgraded my patio furniture sooner."
Yeah. So first and foremost, I agree 100% with Paula. The data actually is there that people tend to find more happiness long-term over experiences compared to things. And in my opinion, I think there really is kind of a spending or money happiness continuum. And so I think spending on things are like the cheapest thrills, right? We get the immediate dopamine hit, but we know because of the hedonic treadmill and hedonic adaptation that tends to go away fairly quickly. I think spending experiences takes you further down that kind of spending happiness continuum. Like spending on experiences is probably better and has more lasting effect on you and your happiness. Ultimately, I believe, and this is just me personally, I don't have data to back this up. In my experience, when you spend on being a better, more intentional person, when you spend on becoming a better version of yourself, I think that's the best kind of spending. And I include in that spending on people that you love, right? So when you spend on people that you love, you give to charity and you spend on becoming a better version of yourself, whether that means a better comedian or a better writer or a better world explorer, whatever that is. I think that has more enduring, lasting happiness. And that's the beautiful thing about that is often spending on becoming a better version of yourself, you don't really have to spend as much, right? So you can go to Italy or to Europe and you can spend $100,000 for your whole family, or you can do a staycation and go to the city and stay in a hotel there and explore a neighborhood you've never seen and go on a bike trip with your family. And you find that you could spend maybe a tenth and yet derive most of the same joy that you did from that bigger vacation.
It is interesting diving into experiences, OG, but we really don't want to pretend that every experience is a noble one. I mean, you and I know people that have taken experiences, taken the family to Disney. I think it's one that's come up on the show before where it's going to be financed with credit cards. Mine was the first time I went to Disney. It was all credit cards, and it was, you know, I just need a break, and I felt awful afterwards. It's like, you know, financing Coachella like it's a medical emergency when truly it's not.
I mean, yeah, if you can't use the experience thing as a crutch if you're gonna basically run up debt or not have a dedicated savings for it and pull from your future. I mean, that's just kind of stupidity. So,
but is there an expense that's expensive, but you think is really worth paying for?
Do I have a list of things that I think are expensive that I pay for?
Well, no, that you think are
How much
for the
time you
average
got?
person.
Well, now we're got a fence around average person. I think that I think that spending money on education is important. If you have a chance to do that, mostly because you can sometimes, if you do it the right way, in my opinion, you can have a better network potentially. Your circle becomes a little different. I think that's a okay place to spend. And I'm not talking about like overspending because you want to go to the eclectic college or something. I'm thinking more like, you know, elementary, high school, whatever. Like if you have the ability to spend there, or you think that that would be helpful. I do think that spending on some experiences is a good idea. But again, that's a real tough thing to judge, especially if you're trying to talk yourself into something, like, oh, this is just an experience, it's,
Right. Gotta
um,
have it.
I'll tell you, personally, my mom and I were going to take a trip one year, and we didn't because we had, a death in the family, or at least we thought we were going to have a death in the family. And it turned out that we did. And so, looking back on that, I'm really glad that we didn't do the experience, because it would have been a really crappy experience. It would have been a great time to be with mom, but a really crappy time to be with mom, at the same time. The thing I'm upset about as I look back on that is we never rescheduled it. It never happened again there. And now it's pretty much at the point where it probably won't ever happen again. So it was like this small window of timing that worked out for everybody's schedule and money and all that sort of stuff. And it worked. And then we weren't able to go. Sometimes people will say, that was bad luck, or maybe it was just, the Almighty looking down and going, now's not the right time to be doing that, which is a different way of considering it. But so I do have some regrets in that regard. Like I wish that we would have been a little bit more particular about saying, hey, this isn't the right time anymore, but I still want to do this because I think this will be worth it in the long run. Everything else is really just subjective. We've talked, I mean, you guys and I have talked about when we fly. I don't like flying in the back of the plane. I just don't. And so I'll pay extra to fly in the front. To me, it's worth it. To Doug, I've flown with Doug before, and he's like, put me in the back next to the bathroom. I'll help hand out, pretzels. I don't even care.
Wow.
Like we're all getting to the same place at the same time.
I did not want to.
Like, can I get the toilet seat with a buckle? Like if that'll save me $20, I'll do that instead, and that's fine. Like there's no right or wrong way. And, and I think the hard part when we talk about spending, like Paula said, is not inserting your own values judgment in other people's conversations, because it's like the things that I think are really stupid that you do, Joe, with money that I would never do in a million years, you think are a really great idea. And the things that I do, you probably think there's some dumb things that I do with money that I think are a really great idea. And I think every single person has one of those.
Probably
those
just
things.
me, but there sounded like an awful lot of judgment in there in describing where I prefer to fly.
and his pretzel handing out. Yeah.
It was laced with judgment.
I was about to say too, Doug.
Maybe just a skosh.
I'm still wondering where it is that I would actually spend money stupidly. I mean, I don't spend any money stupidly.
Right.
Yeah,
precisely.
That's what other people do. Other people spend money stupidly.
That's right. Yeah. I'm just scratching my head. Like, what's he referring to?
But joking aside, isn't it interesting how, and I think, OG really brought this up, or at least in my mind, is a lot of times you don't actually know whether it was money well spent or not until after the case anyway. Like you don't know whether that vacation was worth it. You don't know whether even that purchase, right? A lot of times it's like, wow, aren't I glad I bought that thing? That's happened to me before. But then there are also times where I'm like, I really wanted something, spent a lot of money on it. And years later, I'm like, why did I even bother?
But there are clues though, Jordan. And I think, one clue, I agree with this idea of education as Paula brought it up. And then again, as OG said it, I was also wondering, is there a time when I paid for education that I regretted it? And sometimes it's funny. It's like the cheap online courses. Sometimes I did where, I'm like, oh, I probably shouldn't have spent that $100 on this poorly put together course. But when I truly dug into somebody that I knew was an expert in an area and I paid to be there, like, I don't think I've ever regretted one of those.
But that gets back into spending on becoming a better version of yourself.
Sure.
I think it's almost always spending to become a better version of yourself, to embrace an identity that's important to you, to follow a version of purpose that seems exciting to you, usually goes well as it's almost always when you spend on someone you love, or spend to make someone else's life better, those things almost always are money well spent, whether that's a charity or a family member. There's just something innately good about spending on those things that you generally have lasting benefit, I believe.
I think another place, Paulo, where there's a clue, I think that as money nerds, we tend to value money, but we undervalue time. And I feel like when I've spent money to speed up the process of or heighten the process, make a process better, supersize it, so to speak, that's often been money well spent too.
Yes, some of the best use of money, but also the often most expensive use of money, and easiest for others to criticize use of money, is the use of money in a way that buys back your time. And it's expensive because other people's time is expensive, and it's also easy to criticize because we do live in a society that indoctrinates us with this notion that your own time ought to be free. You know, everyone else's time is worth something, but yours is free.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like well, that's a whole different topic that we will say for another day, that I was about to dig a hole, which I will not. I love this idea. In the second half, I want to dig into some other interesting things in this piece. But at the halfway point of our Friday shows, we have a trivia competition. It's been going on all year. Actually, we've done it for several years. We actually, Doug, we had Dottie in Wichita look up the record, and OG right now is chasing the record. What's the most points scored in a year?
Yeah, we started to get worried that OG was running away with this, and we tried to fight it for a little while and realized, hold on, we have a chance to break through the record book.
History in the making.
History in the making. Charlie riding a glass elevator through the roof. Let's see if it happens. The record was set 2 years ago by OG at 18 points total for the year. Jesse won it last year with 14 and a half points, but 18 is what he's chasing. And here we are in May, kind of late May. And he's not, he's on a great pace right now. For comparing this to like Roger Maris home run record.
Yes.
Barry Bonds home run record. He's at 9 wins so far, 9 points so far. Both Paula.
We're not even to the All-Star game yet.
I know.
Right. We're not to the All-Star break. Great point, Doc. And so Paula and Jesse are both at 3 points currently. So he has a chance to break his 18-point record.
I'm also surprised that Paula's tied with Jesse at this point, who's last year's champion. Paula, what the hell's going on here?
Broken clock is right twice a day.
Well, hold on. No. A broken clock or guests sitting in for Paula are right.
I think, is it
Either
two
way,
is it 2 of the 3 or is it 3 of 3?
It's at least 2 of 3. Possibly 3.
I think Sarah Catherine got 2. And,
I was about to say, it wasn't me. They wouldn't torture you by having me fill in for you, Paula. So.
That's right.
I do remember. Paula did get 1. She had a smile on her face the size of a Grand Canyon. But yeah, definitely 2 out of the 3 were from guests. So,
well, let's see what we've got this week, and we need a trivia question to see, is OG going to continue the march? Can Paula pull into second? Can Jordan help Jesse, because Jordan's playing as Team Jesse this week, help Jesse fend off Paula Pant? What's going on? Well, Doug, you've got it.
Hey there, Stackers. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and on this date back in 1992, an era came to an end as Johnny Carson hosted his final episode of The Tonight Show that stacked tons of Benjamins for him, the network, advertisers, and guests. Back when Johnny was host, not only did Joe's mom watch like it was a religious ritual, the country tuned in for his topical monologues and interesting discussions with sometimes very thoughtful guests. Here's a question. During Johnny's 30 years as host, how many episodes did he personally host, not including reruns of old episodes? I'll be back right after I write my monologue to open up the trivia answer. It's going to be epic.
It is interesting to go back, and I recently watched a couple old episodes of Johnny Carson, and it's wild looking at late night shows now, just how thoughtful some of those discussions were, like, and how deep some of them actually were. Like, we don't get that on late night TV anymore. All right, OG, you're going first. Johnny Carson retired on today's date. How many shows did he host himself?
I like that they could smoke on TV. That was my favorite part.
Isn't that wild? Sitting on set just with a cigarette.
Dean Martin was a guest once. He was drinking some scotch. I mean, it's late night. Anything goes.
Anything goes. So 30 years of the show. You know, I mean, obviously. Oh shoot! I was thinking it was a weekly show. Shit. Am I allowed a calculator? I gotta do this in my head.
No,
your big giant brain.
Big giant brain. Okay, so let me think through this. So I'm gonna assume that that he worked at least 12 weeks a year. And there's 5 shows, so that's 60 times 30 years. So 60 times 30 is 60 30s, right? So that's got to be 1,800. But maybe he worked more than 12 weeks a year. So I'm going to say the answer is 5,400 shows.
Oof.
5,400 shows. Jor, was that you, Wolfen?
Yeah, because he was pretty damn close to my calculation. So I was digging it when he was saying 1,800. I thought, okay, good, he's going to be off, and then he pushed it up, and
he did notch it up a degree or 5.
Yeah. Is it my guess or is it Paul's? Who goes next?
It is your guess. And before we get to that, Eddie has never seen Johnny Carson shows.
He must be young.
If you ever get a chance to go back, Eddie, those often hold up.
Look for ones in the 70s and early 80s.
So my calculations, I thought he was on every day of the week, 5 days a week, right? And I think it was most weeks of the year. So that would have been about 7,500. But then I agree, he obviously had some reruns and he had all sorts of stuff. So I was going to think it was probably a third discounted, which takes me right about to 5,000. So the question is, I'm thinking 5,400 is a little high, but not far. I guess we could make sure that OG loses. I'll leave that up to Paula because I'm going to go with 5. What did you say? 5,400? So I'll go with 5,399 because I think it's below, but I think he's close.
Wow. He's just.
I think he's close.
Okay. So if working 12 weeks a year is the equivalent of 1,800 episodes per year, then that means 24 weeks a year would be 3,600. So at 5,400, we're talking about 36 weeks per year, right? 36 weeks per year of work would be the equivalent times 5 days a week times 30 years would be the equivalent of 5,400, if my math is correct. I actually, upon hearing the question, was thinking that he worked probably 40 weeks a year. So I think that 5,400 is a little bit low. So I'm going to go with 5,401.
You're kidding me.
Oh, no. Oh,
no. Wow. Holy cow. Well.
It's not my fault, OG.
I
actually thought you were really close. Yeah.
This is what happens.
We need to go back to Price is Right style.
Wow. The home run hitter getting squashed this week. All right. Let's see who's going to win this one. We'll be right back. All right, OG, you opened up with 5,400, and it's going to be really cool if you nailed it.
Exactly on the money. Well, I just learned a lesson,
then it's over.
I just learned a lesson, which is I can't talk through my answer because then you guys evaluate the thinking process. I just need to do the thinking process in my brain. And then, and I also can't have a round number. I think the round number makes it too
squishable.
Yeah. I love being the meat in between the Paula and Jordan bread. So, it is what it is. There's a lot in life, and that's mine. I'll take it. There's worse things in the world.
Jordan, you took below. You feeling good?
Yeah, so I resent you thinking that I wasn't doing the math on my own while you were doing it out loud. So I was very actively doing the math. I think I've got a decent chance. I think that's a lot of shows. The question is, right? Did he show up 2/3 of the day or not? But it could go either way.
Paul,
a high-pitched voice does not convey confidence, Doc. I think I got a chance.
I think I
I'm just trying to let these two down easily because I know how important it is to them.
Paula, did your gut tell you that it was higher than 5,400?
Well, no, so I was just thinking 18, 36, 54, 72, right? I was thinking in those increments. So yeah, the minute that he said 1,800, I was like, well, triple that, we get to 54. And really, if he works 40 weeks a year, which makes sense, because then it's like, all right, 52 weeks a year, he gets essentially a season off. He gets the summer off.
Yeah.
And 40 weeks a year. That sounds about right.
I would just love to see all this complex math and decision making you do actually work for once. That would be fantastic with our trivia. Doug, tell us who won this thing.
Hey there, Stackers. I'm late night lover and guy who's all about the double entendre. Think about it. Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug. Okay, I promised a Tonight Show inspired monologue, but all I could come up with was my opening line. I mean, there just wasn't enough time. So here it goes. Here it goes. Hey there, Stackers. I was just thinking about it today, and purple is my favorite color. I love it way better than blue and red combined.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait.
Is this thing on? Anybody? All right, we'll get back to it. Let's get you the answer.
Paula's still like, wait, what? Okay. Hold on.
Still be on the double entendre. Well, let's get back to it. Let's get you the answer to today's question. Johnny Carson stepped off the stage on today's date back in 1992. He was the longest running host in history, lasting a full 30 years. While he helped make stars of tons of actors, musicians, and comedians, Carson himself was always the biggest star with his deflective personality, charismatic question asking. Wow, this is sounding really familiar. And easy laugh. Easy laugh. Yeah. Today's question was this: how many episodes, not including reruns, did Johnny host himself? And I think what's important here, the big headline, is that Paula went in exactly the opposite direction she should have, because the correct answer is 870 episodes fewer than what Paula guessed, 869 fewer than what OG guessed, and just 868 fewer episodes than what Doc G guessed, because the correct answer is 4,531 episodes, making Doc our winner.
There you go, baby.
It was amazing, Jesse. OG, how much your math led them to the promised land.
Yeah, weird. I was just doing a quick Wikipedia search as Doug was doing some stupid math.
He's going to contest.
No, not at all. The missing link in this, and you guys will all think about this as well, wasn't our math. The missing link was the guest host thing. The fact that from a contract standpoint, starting in the early 80s, he had been on for 20 years. So he was like, I'm not doing this stuff 5 days a week anymore. Well, I'm going to now knock it down to 4 days a week. And then subsequently 3 days a week of his own content and bringing in other people. We did the math and ran it out the entire time. If we would have broken it up, we could have got it.
That's when we started seeing what? We started seeing Joan Rivers, and we started seeing the guy who ultimately took over. Yeah, Jay Leno. Yeah.
Letterman did a couple, I think, before he had his show.
Yeah, good stuff.
George Carlin.
Did George Carlin?
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
I'd watch that.
Yeah.
It was PG. It wasn't as good.
Well, let's go back to the PG second half of our discussion about inflation. What inflation is really changing about us is the topic I want to get to next, because I'm wondering, Paula, when we look at the people in this piece, well, I referenced one, but I feel like she's thinking more about, is this important or not in my life? Do you think that to some degree inflation makes us better spenders?
I think generally being cash strapped makes us better spenders. I don't think that it has to be inflation. It could be a job loss. It could be a pay cut. It could be, a business that's bringing in less revenue than it used to. Any situation that results in a cash crunch often makes you better. When you have fewer resources, you often manage them better.
Just constraints in general.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. OG, when you've had clients that lose their job or they're feeling cash strapped, where do you see them largely begin to cut?
Well, it's definitely discretionary stuff. I mean, so whoever was talking about this earlier, maybe Jordan, was about like, making it seem like you're making cuts by like, oh, I got rid of my $20 a month YouTube subscription. Look at all the cuts I'm making. Meanwhile, I'm still going on the cruise. I think you have to be cognizant of that dynamic, as well, in terms of like trying to think through like what sort of impact are you having in your cash flow. The other thing I would say about this is when evaluating your expenses, or especially if there's like a shock to the system, you have to recognize that everything is on the table. And I think that there's a lot of times there's items that we kind of reserve for, like, well, I have to do that. I have to have that sort of thing. And like literally short of, I mean, food, which doesn't even have to be that, expensive, I mean, like you don't have to have like the gourmet, whatever, there's very few things that you have to have. You can move, you can sell your car, you can pull your kids out of private school, you can stop saving in your 401k. Like none of these are things you want to do, but if it's bad enough, like everything's on the table. And I think if you are evaluating your cash flow and build it up from the bottom and really just lean on like, if I was doing this from scratch, like what would I include, as opposed to thinking about it from the top down of what am I going to cut to get down to where I need to be, start building it up the other way. It feels a little bit more empowering because you're now making choices as opposed to restrictions.
Yeah, I like that. I remember when I was cleaning out my closet and I just had a plethora of running t-shirts, and I was like, okay, it isn't whether I like the t-shirt or not. I just have too many. So instead of starting with which ones do I cut because I liked them all, I'm like, I need 10. So now which 10 are the ones that are and that made it so much easier. And it's interesting, Jordan. I mean, I think what we're getting at is it can sometimes be these hard moments that help us clarify what matters.
Yeah, if you flip the situation around and instead of inflation is high or things are getting tight, so I have to make this decision, what if you flip it around and say, I'm shooting for financial independence, or I'm shooting to buy that house? Then we talk about values-based spending, but it feels much more optimistic and positive. It's like, oh, you want to get to financial independence faster. Maybe you should cut those subscriptions. Maybe you should eat out less. Maybe you should do these things so that you can save and invest more. And that feels positive and exciting and values-based. On the other hand, when inflation is going up or you just lost your job and you're doing the same exact thing, it feels much more negative. So I like the way we're talking about it right now, because it's a much more optimistic, positive spin on this idea of getting more in touch with what spending actually means to you and who you are as a person.
Is there a part of this, Paula? You've heard the phrase that authors use: "Kill your darlings," right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
who's the Game of Thrones guy who's good at that? Like kills all his darlings. George R. R. Martin. Yes, kills everybody. Kills all the people I like in the book.
I don't think that's literally what they mean by kill your darling.
Well, he took it way too far, because he did. But I wonder if there's a piece of this with our budget, because I'm thinking about these clients that I had way back in the day who just needed money now. And the thing that they loved was the holiday season. And we were getting into the holiday season, and they celebrated Christmas. They decided to cut Christmas spending 100% that year. And it was interesting talking to them in January. They told me, Paula, they had the best holiday season they'd ever had.
Huh.
Because when they cut the spending on stuff, they cut out the mall that it turned out they hated, all of the gift wrapping that drove them crazy. But the time together with people that they kept, which cost them nothing, was truly the thing that they liked the most.
That's a good way of, it's a good spin on it, because it's like you get to reimagine all of the things that you love. You get to embrace the things that you love, but in a different way.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yes. So maybe kill it off. Is there anything? I've got two last questions for you guys, and Paula, we'll start with you. What's something you're never going to go cheap on? That is that rock that, you know what? I'm always going to spend a bunch of money on this thing.
Ooh.
Gelato.
Any necessary medications, you know?
Ah,
Yeah, I wouldn't like when I was younger, I would get those like contact lenses and I would wear them for way longer than I was supposed to, you know? Just trying to like really stretch it out so that I
Yeah.
wouldn't have to refill as often. And now like I don't what's the word? It's not titrate. It's when you stretch something out. Anyway, I don't do that.
Stretch things out. Yeah.
stretchiness.
Yeah. Yeah,
Put the
yeah.
fork down.
Yeah, I don't stretch out my prescriptions anymore, like in the way that I used to when I was like in my early 20s.
So health and wellness is
Yeah,
something you always spend
yeah.
money on. OG, how about you? What's the thing?
That's a good one, Paula. That's a really not trying to double dip, so I got to think of something different. What is the one thing that I will never not spend on? I mean, can I generically say my kids? Does that count? Like, I don't know. Like, that's pretty. That's
I
kind
think
of
that's a good
cop-out.
one because as you say that, I'm with you there.
A little bit of a cop out. Like, kids doing what? Like, I will always make sure that if I have anything to say about it, my kids will always have the best of everything that they can get. Like, and I get that that's in the eye of the beholder also, but yeah, maybe kids. I'd maybe even extend that to family, maybe, but it's too broad based. Sorry.
Best friends, maybe.
Like, I'm pretty passionate about like our recent aggressive charitable contributions, but it's hard to say that. I don't know that I would say that I would never not do that. I feel like I always want to do that.
Yeah.
Maybe to different organizations, like if the current one ticks me off or something, you know, like hopefully I'll find something else that we're equally, you know, enamored with. But
wait, you wouldn't do that with your kids? Because I've had those days.
no, I mean, I do feel like the kids sometimes will ebb and flow. Like I do keep the estate plan pretty handy with whiteout. Like, yeah, didn't do the dishes today. You were at 34%, split evenly. Now you're down to 30. We're rounding up for your brother.
Dita's hanging out with us on YouTube as we make the show. By the way, if you want to hang out with us while we make the show, it's Monday afternoons, reliably. But D to Z, it is. I thought it was Dita's, but it's D2Z. My allergist suggested I get rid of the dog because of allergies. I got rid of the allergist.
Yes. Smart move.
Pets are something people spend money on. Pets,
Yep.
people will not give up on their pets. Very rarely.
Yeah. Well, let's stick with you, Jordan.
Yeah. So I was thinking about this, and believe it or not, and I'm not a foodie, but I don't want to live a life where I have to be like, oh, I can't go out and eat, or I can't buy that good steak at the grocery market. So for us, actually, you know, I haven't faced this. I've never been at the point in life where I had to really cut down on my food costs. But I feel like there's something to not having to worry about food. And I don't want to worry about, like, if I'm out and I want to grab something at a restaurant or whatever, I don't want to have to like second and triple and double and triple guess myself on that. So to me, that's kind of a hard stop line. Is I'd give up a lot. I'd rather not have to worry about how I'm going to pay for food.
Doug, how about you?
You just hit on it. I will. The first thing to go for us is eating out and those kind of food related things. The first thing to go for us, and would absolutely always focus on the dogs.
I thought Doug's was going to be premium mustard.
Yeah, right. The Grey Poupon mustard. No, it's the dogs the kids have moved out. They're doing fine. They're taking care of themselves. So the dogs have absolutely taken over priority. And yep.
What is a purchase then? Let's end on this one. What's a purchase that's dead to you? I'll start this one. I will never DoorDash. I never have.
Yep.
I never will. I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't like lukewarm food. I don't need it delivered to my house. I DoorDash just does not do it for me. But Paula, how about for you?
Wow. I feel
Hot
the
take.
opposite. A very hot take. If I can save like 30 minutes of my time by the food coming to me, it's a good time trade-off. Right?
See,
It's a time
I don't
saver.
think it is, but that's a longer discussion. We actually had a guest on last year talking about how the French live and how they spend more time around their food and how productivity number wise, when you look at the data, they're every bit as productive, because we tend to value sitting at our desk looking stuff up on YouTube, and they tend to value the relationships they have over food.
Mm, yeah. Yeah. I don't know how it works. Well, when you're a small business owner, you gotta nose to the grind.
If only I were a small business owner.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
Paula, what's yours?
An expense that I would just never pay. The stuff that doesn't make any sense to me. I'm trying to think of something that's like way out there. You know what? Like big screen TVs, like that sort of a thing. Home entertainment system. Yeah, would never.
Well, that's a shock. The queen of watching movies and TV shows.
Yeah, exactly.
I refuse to buy a Betamax machine. That's still a thing.
Imagine you could probably get one of those now, Doug, for about $12. I would think,
right,
somewhere. Doc, how about you?
In this crew, people are gonna think I'm crazy, but I just can't seem to get myself to pay for first class flights or even for business class. So we went to Bali. We went to Bali and coach because I wasn't going to, it was going to be like 10,000 extra per ticket, but it is hard. I would rather spend $1,000 a night at a hotel than spend $1,000 extra to fly first class. I don't know what it is, but it takes a lot. I won't say never. Like if the price was really right, we would do it. I think coming home from Mexico City once, I think we paid $50 extra for first class tickets. So I'll do that.
If it's $50 more,
I'll pay 50. Yeah. And it was for a speaking engagement. So I didn't even pay for the flight. I only paid for the upgrade. But yeah, that's pretty dead to me.
All right. Who? Oh, gee, I haven't asked you.
So
having trouble with my answer.
So I don't know the answer to this because there really is nothing that I would not spend money on. But so I needed help. So I put this into Claude and I was like, what is the one expense that you think based on what you know that I would never spend? That's the thing, right? Like that's the question. What would I never spend money on? And it goes, you would never spend money on a cleaning service or a housekeeper because you're disciplined and self-sufficient. And the kind of person who views paying for someone to clean your house is soft. Like, never in a million years. Like, do it yourself. Like, okay, that one's not me. Like, we have a house cleaner. Or how's this one? A meal kit delivery service. Like I literally was just eating a Factor meal 5 minutes ago. So, or a personal stylist, which I have, despite my hoodie today, have had in the past. So I just, I don't know that there's a limit right now. Honestly, I can't think of anything. Doug, help me with this one. You and Joe know me as well as anybody. Like, what is the thing that I wouldn't spend money on?
I think coach class tickets are dead to him, Doug.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Well, no, that's not true. So we did it. So I'll tell you, we had to fly that way to our ski trip. The only reason was because they didn't have any seats available. There was just no inventory. So like it was that or drive. So I mean, we took it. But
yeah, the things that you're going to refuse are not because of the cost.
Yeah,
it's going to be because of some other thing you value more than because as an entrepreneur and a successful one, you have that attitude, that aggressive attitude of I can always make more. I'll find a way to find the money, but I want this thing because it's going to enhance the experience or whatever. So I'm going to just get the stuff I want.
I would say the things that really kind of hit it for me are definitely value-based. Like it's going to free up time, energy, or free up money, or increase the quality of the experience. Like that's where I would spend money. So I guess if it doesn't do those things, like I probably wouldn't be.
But nobody's better than you at justifying.
Oh yeah, well, there's that.
That is your superpower for sure.
Well, it helps me help you guys spend your money because, like I said 500 times, like, what's the point of having all this money and you don't actually do it for anything? Like, it's as frustrating for a financial planner to see clients who don't save enough money as it is to see the person who does save enough money, but then never actually consumes it or never uses it to make their life or the people around them or their family or whatever is important to them, like a better experience or better, whatever you want to look at that as. It's like, if you want to die with 10 million in the bank, you better tell me a good reason that you're going to spend that 10 million when you die. Like, what are we building? A children's hospital? Like, what are we doing with the 10 million? Because if you're just like, oh, I don't know, I'm just going to accumulate cash because I don't know, like, that's soft in my book.
The point is to take it out in hundreds and video yourself jumping on a bed of $100 bills. That's it. That's the whole point of money.
Yeah. Spendy. If anybody needs any help on spending their money, I'm an expert. As Doug already told you.
He's got a side hustle. He's ready to start now. I think that's going to do it for today. I really like this piece. It's interesting to see as inflation goes up. By the way, one more thing that I neglected to get to, Papa John's in their latest quarterly report showed that people are still buying Papa John pizzas, but they're not going for the specialty pizzas. They're going for just the basic pizzas because I like pizza, but I just spending more on the Supreme or whatever doesn't make it better in their eyes. So they're trying to figure out different ways to get people money out of people's wallet.
But if you like pizza, why would you order Papa John's?
Yeah.
Wow.
Damn.
Wow. Hey, Papa John's, do you want to sponsor the show?
When you're looking at the menu and you see that it's like $2.50 or $3 for each additional item you want to throw on, you start to do math in your head pretty fast and real. I was getting a burger the other day and saw that, whatever, $1.50 for lettuce and tomato. I'm like, hold on, what are we doing?
$1.50 each, $1.50 for lettuce and $1.50 for tomato.
Yeah, like they had a list of all the things you could add, and each one of them was $1.50 or it was over $1. And I thought, this is crazy.
So Doug went with just the bun because they didn't charge extra for that. Yeah. All right. I would love to hear, where are you cutting back? Write me, joe@stackingbenjamins.com. We have a show on our Monday, Wednesday shows. We have a part of the show we call the Back Porch. And on our Back Porch segment, we'd love to hear actually from you. How are you cutting back? And what are some of the expenses that are maybe dead to you, or what do you draw a line in the sand on going, you know what, I will always spend money on this? Love to hear some of those, because I'm sure while we're here live on YouTube, there might be some good ones that we either didn't get to or we're forgetting. All right. That's going to do it for today. Let's find out what's going on where all you guys are, because it's Memorial Day weekend. I can't believe it. OG, how are you spending Memorial Day weekend?
Riding my bicycle, obviously, because it's the weekend and there's 6 weeks left before this bike race. So
it's a day ending in Y.
That's right.
Yeah. Riding your bike.
Maybe doing a little barbecue outside. Come on over.
That sounds like a good time. I am there. Paula Pant, what's going on at Afford Anything?
On the Afford Anything podcast, of course, on our Tuesday episodes, Joe, you join us, and the best ones are the ones in which we disagree. So we answer questions
like we do on DoorDash. Is that what we're saying?
Exactly. So if you want to hear more of Joe and I taking opposite takes, join us on the Afford Anything podcast. Joe, you're there most Tuesdays, I should say. You're there most Tuesdays. And we answer listener submitted questions on every topic, from investing to debt payoff to, I've got these two priorities. How do I juggle them? So yeah, there's a wide range.
It's on the Afford Anything show, where you will never hear a Papa John's advertisement. Of course, probably now, no DoorDash on this one. Doc G, what's going on at the Earn and Invest podcast, my friend?
So on Monday, we interviewed Carrie Joy Grimes. She wrote a book called The Joy of Money. She talks about how to get good with money yourself, but she has a really interesting history. Her first job pretty much out of school was to be a union organizer. So she talks about how we as communities can get better with our money too. So real interesting conversation.
Wow. As always, at the Earn and Invest podcast, both afford anything and Earn and Invest. If you don't have those on your playlist, you should hit pause right now, subscribe to both of those shows, because if you're not, you're missing out on some great podcasts. All right. That's going to do it for today. Big thanks for hanging out with us, everybody at YouTube. You guys showed up as usual. It was so fun seeing all the things that you would not spend money on, or that you would spend money on, or making fun of me while my internet decided to take a dump right in the middle of this live episode, which nobody who wasn't live will not hear. But what you will hear this episode, like you do at the end of every episode, Doug, what should we have learned on today's show?
Well, Joe, first, take some advice from Paula. If price increases are impacting your long-term goals, it's time to start questioning your values versus your habits. Second, never fail to remind yourself about the OG principle, TM. That maxim states that everything is on the table. I mean, you don't even really need to eat, do you? At least stop door dashing the slushie from 7-Eleven. But the big lesson, don't ask Joe's mom about the Johnny Carson monologue. She'll start her own monologue about the monologue. And I mean, in fact, she's upstairs right now, still monologuing, while I'm down here. Oh, I guess I'm monologuing to you about monologuing. How do I get out of this? Wow. Thanks to Doc G for joining us today. You'll find his Earn and Invest podcast wherever you listen to finer podcasts. We'll also include links in our show notes at stackingbenjamins.com. Thanks to Paula Pant for hanging out with us today. You'll find her fabulous podcast, Afford Anything, wherever you listen to finer podcasts. And finally, thanks to OG for joining us. Looking for good financial planning help? Head to stackingbenjamins.com/OG for his calendar. This show is the property of SB Podcasts, LLC, copyright 2026, and is created by Saul-Sehy. You'll find out about our awesome team at stackingbenjamins.com, along with the show notes and how you can find us on YouTube and all the usual social media spots. Come say hello. Oh yeah, and before I go, not only should you not take advice from these nerds, don't take advice from people you don't know. This show is for entertainment purposes only. Before making any financial decisions, speak with a real financial advisor. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and we'll see you next time back here at the Stacking Benjamin Show.
What was that? It's called the medium sketch.
The medium sketch?
Yeah, it wasn't rare, and it certainly wasn't well done.